welcome back to our current weekly vlog series. Thank you so much for joining us. Yesterday we started our road trip that we're doing from Christchurch all the way up to Picton, doing a loop of the South Island's south coast. So we drove from Christchurch to Timaru yesterday. We didn't really think there was too much point vlogging. We literally drove 2 straight hours to get to here. And then today what we're doing is picking up the coastal road, taking us down the southeast coast, all the way hopefully to the southwest coast, ending up in Picton before our ferry in about 3 weeks time. I'm just eating my breakfast. We've got the sea behind us. We pulled up at a gorgeous spot on your way out of Timaru. There's actually 2 feeding camping sites. We stayed at the one furthest away from the centre, and it's meant that we have this gorgeous view to wake up to. We've got the sea, we were on a sort of cliff, so we can get like a good vantage point as well, and from our beds we can see the sea too. So I'll insert some clips of what we did yesterday, because we pulled up around mid-afternoon and we walked into the centre of town, and we walked around the Caroline Bay Gardens, it's like a botanic garden area, and also an aviary where there were some really beautiful birds. It was just a really nice way to spend a Sunday. And then we came back here, cooked some tea. I did some editing of our van tour video, which you'll have seen before this one. And then just went to sleep and woke up with this from our window, which was absolutely beautiful. So eating my porridge. This has become my like little staple, little routine, is that we just get up, make breakfast and coffee. Today we're actually going to head into Timaru for our coffee, hence the lack of coffee cup. But I've been absolutely loving porridge. I've been getting into it so much when we've been on the road. Hopefully it will set us up for a good day of exploring in Timaru and then down at the southeast coast. To Oamaru, we have made a stop at the Elephant Rocks, and there's all the different types of rocks. We're going to see some boulders in a few days time. There's also the pancake rocks that we haven't been to yet, but these ones are the Elephant Rock. It's a beautiful day, the sun is shining, we've just made our lunch, so we're going to stop and eat that amongst the rocks. There's not actually a lot to see really between Timaru and Oamaru, but this is a great stop, just a few kilometres off of the main highway, and yeah, you can soak it all in, see a little bit of geological history. So I just did a little bit of googling, and apparently they're called the Elephant Rocks because supposedly the formations look a little bit like elephants, but essentially what it was saying is that limestone was deposited here millions and millions of years ago. It said 20 to 25 million years ago, and then the limestone eroded, leaving these boulders in these shapes as well. So it's erosion which has caused these shapes, and it's all like really naturally formed, and there's just so many of them. And it's quite strange because they're almost in the middle of nowhere, like there's fields and fields with nothing in them, and then all of a sudden these boulders which have just been left. So we'll show you some of them up close, and I think this is just sort of like a little circular loop that you can do, walk around them. It's on private land, so you can leave a donation if you want to. Saying it reminds us of something out of The Lion King. Like is it called the Elephant Graveyard in The Lion King, where they have just all the rocks in the middle of nowhere, and it's like Scar's land that he's created, with all the hyenas and everything on the rocks. It reminds me of that. Anyway, it's very cool. So we've just come to what is our first Maori rock art that we have seen, and it's in this cave here, and you can see right at the back there, they're the paintings from what people believe is like thousands of years ago. It could also be a little bit more recent as well because of some of the images depicted. But yeah, this is a cave that they're not really sure also what it was used for, whether it was shelter or rituals. But even still, the surrounding area is absolutely stunning. And yeah, it's really cool that you can see something that's have so much significance and importance for so many people. They say that really they just want people to treat it with respect, because you can see here there's graffiti that's been put on it, and that's why it's been sort of caged off as well, so people can't disrespect it, which is really sad. So this is the rock site that we're at now, but then there's also one not too far away just down the road. So there's Duntroon, and we're at the one on the right, and then yeah, the one on the left is only a few kilometres down the road. We've actually come to the other site now, and this is a look at some of the other paintings. So you can see the red outlines here, what is depicted here. So in this site they actually have some sort of information, or I suppose drawings, showing you what to look for and what's there, which is actually really helpful then, so you can sort of like guide and see actually what is Maori art. This one is a lot more accessible, it's just flat, and there's lots of drawings here, so this sort of path stretches all the way along the side of this cliff face. Today we have driven about 30 minutes outside of Oamaru, and we are at the Moeraki Boulders. So these are a coastal site, as you can see, right on a beach, and these are boulders. Again, a lot of people don't know how they got here. It's a bit of a mystery, like the Stonehenge. There's lots of conspiracy theories, if you can call it that, as to how they got here. They are quite, again, another geographical phenomenon. That's very difficult to say. A little bit like the elephant rocks yesterday. You can see a few behind me just here, but the main cluster is just in front of me. So I'll show you. This is one of the most popular stops along the East Coast coastal road down to Dunedin. Boulders here, so they used to be the same shape, and then they've just been eroded away, and they're not all one colour. So this is sort of what you'd expect like the normal rock to be like. This almost looks like caramel on top of it, like crystallised something that's on there. But yeah, these used to look like that. Hello. Victim to the hamster wheel.
Take two. You missed.
The first one didn't work, it didn't record, so is this a practice run or is this going to be the demise because we're tired? Who knows? Okay. It is Wednesday today. I'm so tired, I didn't sleep super well last night, but we were able to get on the road again today after doing some tutoring, and we have driven further along the east coast, so down past Moeraki where we stopped yesterday. We went to Shag Point, so I'll insert some clips now of the seals, which were absolutely amazing. You could get so close to them, even like just further a little around the bay where there's a slipway to get into the sea. Yeah, you could really get up close to them then, so it was so lovely just to stop. It was only a 5-minute walk, so again super accessible, and just means then you can see so much just when you're on this road. And then we've just pulled up at a sort of in a town, I suppose, but with the most gorgeous view. So I think we're going to have some lunch, and then we're going to go to little walkway which just goes around the peninsula up here, and I think it's about 45 minutes. I was able to find a website which had more things to do on this route between Oamaru, which is where we were, and Dunedin, because our guidebooks actually didn't have very much, so we wanted to make it a worthwhile journey and not just straight to. So this is where we've just pulled up, so this is the car park just here, so the town is behind us, but yeah, I think we're going to be walking up this peninsula just here that you can see in front. So we're gonna have a little wander. I think it's a circular loop, and then we'll end up back here ready to go to Dunedin. So the village or township that we're in now is called Karitane, and it is actually really famous because it is well known for the establishment of the Plunket Society. And I'd never heard of the Plunket Society before, but I think that's because I'm from the UK and it is not as much of a thing over in the UK. But it was founded by Dr. Frederick Truby, and he was a big advocate of infant mortality rates and a very particular nurses on method apparently and how to do that about a century ago. So his legacy is living on now because apparently I was told by a guy who was born in New Zealand, and they have a Plunket book, which is what they were given when they were born, and they have all their weights in at different points since their birth, and also there is a helpline that's been established for women who are struggling with their newborn babies and maybe need some advice and support, but also at the time there was hospitals that were particularly established to help women and their infants under the age of 2 when maybe they weren't going to survive. They went there and received care so that they would. So it's a very interesting place. Also apparently Karitane green is a well-known colour in New Zealand, that if you go to any paint shop and ask for Karitane green, they'll know what you mean. And apparently also it's not a very nice colour either. So there we go. But this walk is gorgeous. Sunsets and cliffs now, and we're just going to stop and have some lunch. So I've done a little bit of off-roading. I've left Tom up there, but I'm sure he'll follow. And we've come off the main path to the main peninsula, I suppose. Like, this is all a peninsula, but the very long straight bit which comes off of it. And it's really cool. Like, yeah, there's not much either side. It's a sheer drop. So I think there's 2 of these on this peninsula, and these are called the Whales blowholes. So you can see the arch has been carved, and then there's a little bay going out to sea. What you get is, yeah, the sudden surge of water. And then it goes out again. So we're just about to go for a swim. I've talked Tom into it as well today. It's actually really warm. It's like 18 degrees and the sun is shining. We found a very still bit of the sea. It's like a little bay where there's not many waves. I was going to wait until we got to Warrington because apparently that beach was really nice, but instead we're going to go in here. So I'm going to put in a little time lapse of how we got on. So we've driven a few windy kilometres to Warrington, and for people in the UK, it's definitely not Warrington like we know it. It was beautiful golden sand, massive open beach, sand dunes. We've come at a gorgeous time of the day as well. So pretty. And when I went for a swim as well in the last place, it was quite misty, and it's still quite misty here. So the sea spray is coming up and it's just gorgeous. Tom being a bird. See the birds? This is Tom pretending to be one. Pick, 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 pick! Everyone, happy Thursday. Yesterday we drove to Dunedin and we spent the night here, and we're just about to go and explore. We were doing very boring things to start the day. We were doing some washing and filling up with fuel, but yeah, it's just gone midday now, so we are walking from the outskirts, actually near Moana Pool, which is where we're going to go later, potentially for a spinning class actually, which will be really fun. But we're walking from the outskirts sort of into the centre, and it is again very hilly. This is a very hilly city, so yeah, we had to do a lot of revs to get up here. So we're going to be walking downhill now, and in our guidebooks there is so much to do here. I think we're going to spend today, oh hello cat, today and tomorrow here. So today it's supposed to be a little bit sunnier, so I think we're going to go and do a little bit more of the outsidey stuff. There's some walking routes and things, and then tomorrow we're going to go and do some of the museums and a little bit more of the inside things, and then on Saturday morning we're going to stay one more night and then hopefully do parkrun, which is around the Botanic Gardens here. So we're really excited to see this city because it has a lot of Scottish heritage. Not that neither Tom or I are Scottish, I mean you're not too far off, Tom, in terms of geographically, but we have friends that are Scottish, and actually Dunedin, like as in the word Dunedin, is Gaelic for Edinburgh, and there's lots of similarities in terms of place names. There's actually Corstorphine, which is where our friends used to live in Edinburgh. There's also one of those here, so I'm sure we'll be able to point out lots of similarities. So we're going up the steps now to St Paul's, and St Paul's sits on the Octagon, which we'll show you in a little bit, but that's the central focus of the town. It's at the town centre, but yeah, this is St Paul's Cathedral, and we're going to see whether we can go in, we're not too sure. This is the outlook down the steps, and then you come up the steps, and Tom just told me that the book said that it has the oldest stone vaulted ceiling of any building in New Zealand. And this weekend is the coronation back at home, and they've got a special service.
He was the third one.
He is the third. First the worst, second the best. There's the one with the hairy chest. It was really beautiful in there. I didn't want to film too much of me or anything, just out of respect, I suppose. It was also very quiet and it would have been a bit awkward, but yeah, it was really lovely. The stained glass windows and the architecture, like the two different parts, because Tom was just actually telling me the part of it was redone in the 70s, so that's why there's a contrast there, but definitely worth a visit. And there's actually a really nice opportunity to write a prayer and put it on a prayer wall. We used to do the same thing with Christmas trees and write a little prayer on a Christmas tree, so it was nice to be able to do that. It's one of my favourite childhood memories at that time of year. So we're just going to go for a little walking tour around this bit, because yeah, this bit's the centre, I think. And this church here is the first church of central Otago. It's a beautiful building, and we're going to get a little closer look and see whether we can go inside. And they've got a plaque underneath her as well, which is a dedication to Thomas Burns, who was actually a vicar, and that is Robert Burns' nephew, the one which settled here. So yeah, he was the first Presbyterian minister of the province. Had a lovely chat with two guys that work in the Heritage Centre at the back of the church, so they have loads of display boards and exhibitions. I suppose like a little exhibition of the history of the church, and specifically the Presbyterian church, first establishing here in Dunedin in the late 1800s. So that was really worth a visit. That's only open from I think 10:30 till 2:30 Monday to Friday, so not all of the time. Oh, very loud. But yeah, we just got chatting to two of the guys there, and they gave us a free pen, which would be very nice for us to write in our journal. There we go, as modelled. We should be hand modelled. We're just going to walk to the wharf bit now, so down near the harbour, just check that out, and the train station as well, so we'll show you that too. It's been a lovely little place so far. The sun's shining as well, which definitely helps, I think. I don't think it'd be quite as nice on a greyer day, but yeah, it's really lovely. You can see the church behind me now. So like I was saying earlier, this is the outside of the train station, and this part is being done up at the moment, so that's why it's covered. But you can see the original architecture just there, and how pretty it is, like the grey stone with the white. And we'll go try and take a look inside. And then this building just here, which I'll film in a separate shot, is the law courts. So Dunedin's first permanent courthouse and prison were built here. There we go. So here are the law courts. And then down that street there is the Octagon. So yeah, right at the end is the train station. this is on the platform at the moment, and I think these are almost like sightseeing tours. I mean, very long ones, like not just like a little train round that you get around a little town. Yeah, the carriages look really, really pretty. I'll try and show you on the inside, but yeah, Dunedin Railways. And the seats look so nice, almost like a little bit old-fashioned. I'll try and see whether you can see. I don't think so much, but yeah, like padded with little tables. Yeah, really, really cool. So the next one that is going is the Inlander, and that's not until Sunday. So the trains only go on a Sunday, and there must be 2 trains, I think, because some of them do go on the same day down here. So that's the schedule for May anyway. And I'll tell you when the next one's going. There's so much history in this building, and you can see the tiles here all said NZR, so New Zealand Rail, and this is it from the top. So you can see how beautiful it is. It's actually quite busy, hopefully you can hear me. There's a mosaic down there of a train that the lady and the man are standing on. There's a few more around, like that's the front of a train just here. Here, look at these beautiful tilings all the way around, and then on either side, and I'll show you the one from the other side in a second, it's a stained glass window with a train on it, and then I imagine this might be the city's coat of arms. You can see like there's a jewel in the middle just here. So beautiful. And yeah, that's it. Out to the other side. I'll just get it to focus. There you go. We're in the Otago Settlers Museum at the moment. We weren't actually going to come into the museum today, but we walked by and actually we realised that we'd have a lot to do tomorrow if we saved all the museums until then. And I'll insert some clips because this museum is amazing. I actually don't know whether we'll do it all today because there is so much, and we've been up since very, very early this morning, so we are slightly flagging. But I'll show you this room. You can sort of see behind me, probably, it's just full of portraits of people. And this is a part of the museum which is dedicated to people that came here on their ships from Europe. And so all of these people arrived on different ships to New Zealand, and all of these screens just here are interactive, so you can click on them, for example, and it will tell you about the person. Well, actually this one's not a good example because it doesn't have very much writing. Let's try and find one that does. Maybe this guy. The men probably have more about them. Oh no, he doesn't. The one over here anyway. They had loads of random information on. Here we go. Tom's going, this is a good example of like who it was and also when they arrived. So yeah, this board and this wall, well, the board corresponds to the wall. It's people that arrived in the 1820s to 40s. This one here is 50s to 57, got 58 to 59, so a very short period of time, and then the 1860s to 64. And it's called the Smith Gallery, this part. That section just there was like my dream. It was like a research centre where you can research your family history, which is so cool, and you can book by appointment. There's also general computers you can use. I wish they had some of my records, which they will definitely not, but it's amazing that that's free to use, and you can just go in and research your family history and get access to such extensive archives as well. I love that. I wish I could do mine and spend hours there. Recommend the Settlers Museum. We were just saying we actually really liked it, I think, because there was lots of different parts. It was really interactive and engaging, like you could just go between things. It wasn't like too in-depth and like in one style, if that makes sense, like all one type of artwork. Like there was about 6-7 different sections you could move around, all about, yeah, I suppose like New Zealand and specifically this region's history. But it was really cool, so yeah, definitely would recommend that one. Maggie's for a little coffee stop and email check. With the video disruptor himself. I'm going to leave this in now. So when people say they actually want to see more review of videos, then this is what they're going to get. We've had some flat whites. Don't jump up. We've had some flat whites.
I'm tired.
You blame it on the tiredness, but actually you tried to do this yesterday when you even wasn't tired. I love these cups, and they remind me of the Breakfast Club ones, actually. Like sort of yellow cups, very signature branding with the dog. And we actually just saw the dog. The dog's over here. Oh, and the dog is famous. Not only is the dog on the wall, on the floor, the dog's also on the cups as well. So we've come to a bar called Woof! Exclamation mark. We were actually just watching an episode of The Office and they were talking about Woof. If you watch the US Office, then you may know that episode. But we're in a really, really cool bar. It's awesome in here. Like, very cool vibe, isn't it? Like, fancy but not too fancy. Beers, cocktails. I've got a whiskey sour. Obviously, being a bit of a Scottish-inspired town, I felt like I had to have some whiskey. But yeah, no, it's really, really nice. And they've got like different sections. Like over there's like a little plant section. You see like fairy lights. We're in like a little booth here. And then over there's like a fireplace, got some plants. Yeah, it's quite busy actually. This was one of the busiest places, wasn't it, that we found? Hello everyone, it is Friday today. We're actually walking where I think we started the vlog yesterday, when we're coming down this big leafy suburb of Dunedin. There's not much parking in the centre, so we just decided to come back to where we parked yesterday, just because we know that we can stay there all day basically. And we've had a little bit of a slower start. We had to be up and out of our freedom camping spot this morning by 8 a.m, so we had a bit of an early one, but also there was a big train track and also a very busy road near where we were camping, so it's very central, which is great, but also meant that we didn't really get too good a sleep last night. So anyway, it didn't really matter that we had to be up and out early. But yeah, we've just sort of had breakfast since we parked up here, planned our meals for the week, just sort of like boring life stuff. And today we are going to have probably a bit more of a less exciting day than yesterday. We're heading in to the city to go to the library first off, do a bit of life admin. I'm going to try and get the van tour video uploaded finally. I started to upload it a few days ago, and then yeah, it didn't work. It like failed basically, because I think I was uploading it for too long in like intermittent periods. So we're going to try and do that, and then we're going to go and look around a few museums as well. So the art gallery today, and potentially the Otago Museum as well. Museum, and we're actually walking to the Otago Museum down George Street, and there's a lot of work being done by here, but I just thought I would show you it before we hit all of the building works. Starbucks! Oh, that would be a treat. Oh, I'm going to see if there's a pumpkin spice latte. Oh, fun. So it did sort of turn into autumn not too long after we got here, and when we were in Christchurch we wondered whether there'd be a pumpkin spice latte in Starbucks, because obviously that's such an autumn staple back at home. And probably one of the only things I like about the weather turning colder. But there wasn't one, and they just all had the summer collection, so I'm going to go and see, because if there is going to be a pumpkin spice latte, if it exists in New Zealand, it must be a thing now. This is an absolutely disappointing display from Starbucks. Absolutely nothing with nods to anything pumpkin, even though they're so in season right now. We've got some like cinnamon dolce drink, but yeah, it's not looking good. And I just looked to see on the extras whether it said about pumpkin syrup, but it doesn't, so I'm going to ask just out of pure intrigue. So just a quick update on the pumpkin spice latte before we go into the museum. They did not have it, which was to be expected, but they said that basically they do get it, but in like the American, like UK time frame. Northern Hemisphere. Northern Hemisphere. They get it in the Northern Hemisphere time frame, which seems a bit bizarre. So basically they'll still get it in the September like we do back in the UK, but obviously it will be their spring, so it's not like autumn anymore. So I don't know, I feel like it just feels a bit sad really, a bit naff. Anyway, we're going into the museum now, so we're going to the Otago Museum. We've got about an hour left just to go have a look around. Hopefully they'll let us in. We actually watched a very interesting documentary, didn't we? David Attenborough documentary. If you haven't seen it, about the carvings on Easter Island, it is great.
It's on iPlayer.
It's on
It was like, I think it was made in like the 90s.
Yeah, it's quite old.
It was good.
But yeah, it's about this figure that David Attenborough has, and didn't know whether it was like a legitimate, real wood carving back from when Captain Cook and everyone took on his ship with him. His merry men sailed, and I'm not going to tell you whether it was or not because you should go watch it. Anyway, this is the museum. There's a few floors, I think one more above this, but then lots of exhibitions coming off either side. So this one here, for example, is the Pacific Cultures exhibition. So I don't know, we haven't really looked at what there is, so we might have to like choose and see. These are like David Attenborough's figures. This is what we mean. Probably this one actually. It's probably the most similar with the bend and like the curve in it. This is me about a week after I'd finished filming our trip in Dunedin and around the Catlins. In classic me fashion, I realised that I hadn't finished the vlog properly. I actually didn't know where we were going to split the vlogs when I first started filming. I thought that I might actually be able to do a whole video on the south of the South Island, but realised then that I had way too much footage when we finished filming in Dunedin. I think I had over an hour. So I've actually just been editing that down now and then realised that, like I said, we needed to film an outro. So thank you so much for watching. Honestly, if you're still sticking around at this point and watching our videos, we appreciate it so much. Whether it's that you're getting inspiration for a future trip or you just want to see a little bit more of the country and see what we're up to as well, we just really appreciate it because yeah, we're sort of trying to work out what tangent our videos are going to go down, and I really enjoy vlogging. It just feels so natural and normal just to be able to pick up the camera anyway and capture some highlights for us, but to be able to share it with you is amazing. But please let us know if there's anything that you do want to see. I will try and incorporate some of that if you do, whether it's little like reviews of places or filming in a different way, like her highlights of the South Island video, for example. Yeah, let me know in the comments because I'd really love to be able to do that and just make video creating really fun for me, but also fun for you guys to watch. So the video that will be coming next is our time in Milford Sound and Queenstown, which, spoiler alert, are two of our favourite places we've been to so far. They were absolutely gorgeous in different ways, so we're really excited to bring you along with us. So please do subscribe if you haven't already. Like I said, it means so much, and thank you for watching, and we will see you again in our next video. Bye bye.